What's going on, YouTube? This is Mike here. Jeremy's not with me today, but that's just fine. We are going to be reviewing the Logitech controller model F310 Gamepad. So we're going to be reviewing a couple of different games on my computer via ROM and emulator. I do want to say that I own all of these games, but for obvious reasons we have to play them on my computer to see how the controller works. Now while this is going, let me just show you a little bit about the controller. It's obviously an almost exact setup of a standard PlayStation 2 controller, or PlayStation 3, whatever you want to call it. The buttons feel different than on a regular PlayStation 2 controller, but obviously you can tell the layout's the same. The only real difference is that there's this mode button right here that I don't really know what it does. Also, this symbol can be pushed in. I don't even know what that does. But other than that, the buttons feel a little bit different. This is kind of more like a levery switch on the top, and then this is more like a clicky button. But you can obviously use this for Super Nintendo, like I got Super Mario World going right now, and the buttons are pretty much the same. It works great for GameCube because you can do L and R, and then your Z button can be here, and then your C stick can be here, your joystick can be here, and then your directional pad can be here. I know that these two are switched, but you'll get used to it. Also, the same thing with Xbox, and for original Nintendo, I usually have this as A and B. So you can kind of just go back and forth like you would normally on a regular Nintendo controller. So, let's get started playing this game. So, I just want to let everybody know real quick, I lost all my footage from the first time I went through all this. So if I repeat anything, just ignore it. So, you know, this is my second time doing this. So, I've had this controller for a few months now, so I really know how well the controller works and how it, everything responds to, the gameplay and everything. And I've played, tons of different games, and they all seem to work great. Let me just get to this one area right here and I'll show you. So if you watch the controller, I'm just letting everybody know I'm screen flowing this right now, so I'm recording what's on the computer so you can see live on the computer and what I'm doing on the controller. So it seems, extremely spot on, there's barely any delay, no more than what would be in a the regular controller. Whoops. And, playing this game multiple times, I know that, what the delay is compared to the original game and everything, and it is not anything like, significant enough where I would be missing out on, anything too important, As you can see, I cleared that level with absolutely no problem, because if there was a delay, when I run off the cliff, I'd fall off the cliff because hitting the jump button would be just a tad too late. So, right there, you should know that, it's pretty spot on, So now, we are playing Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and, I honestly think that this is one of the best games to be able to figure out if your controller is laggy or not, because, I mean, who doesn't want the fastest, most accurate controls when playing Brawl? So let's just go to a standard Brawl real quick. I gotta go with my boy Ike. And I'll just set this to infinity, and set this to a random character at a fairly low level so we can see, you know, how everything is going here. And, I mean, right now the controls are spot on, but let me just see how this works. And, I'm obviously going with the joystick because there is a lot of, you know, different sensitivity things that you have to deal with, and you obviously can't do that with the directional pad. So as you can see here, I'm pretty much just rocking this guy, and you know, if the controllers weren't spot on, it would be like almost impossible to even, you know, put together, you know, the moves that you need to do to win this game. So I don't know what people were talking about when they had a laggy product, you know. Also, I think it could be when you have a game that's really dependent on the graphics and the game slows down. Yeah, it might get a little laggy, you know, because even sometimes if it slows down, like you can see the percentage of how fast the game is running at the top of this emulator, and even as slow as 95-94%, you'll see a lagging in the game, but that's just because your computer can't keep up with the game. But since this is a MacBook Pro, it obviously has no problem keeping up with it. Great, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and see if I can get a little bit of lag going on purpose to show you how it could be a little bit non-responsive compared to how it would be if you're playing a game like this. So let's move on to our next game. Okay, so for our last game, like I said, this is going to be Twilight Princess for the GameCube and not the Wii. I like the GameCube version better. I think it's a lot easier to control Link, and I have both, but I just like the GameCube version a lot better. So let me just run around a little bit. Let's fight some enemies, and you know, we'll see how everything goes. Now, as you can see here, see how it's pretty slow, and the music is slow, and it's pretty. The frame rate's going to be dropping a little bit here. So you see here how it takes a couple of seconds for me to, or a couple of milliseconds even, to attack the guy. But that's just because, you know, the computer has a hard time keeping up with it. So let's go back to human form real quick. And we'll try with the sword. So you see here, it's just extremely slow. But like I said, it is the computer's fault. It is the emulator's fault. It is not the controller's fault. So this is a good example because I've done this before. The horse. Okay, it's a couple of milliseconds off. Okay. But like I said, this is one of the most like detailed graphic games that were out at the time, and you know, it's understandable with a game that's so big and stuff like that has trouble on the emulator. I completely understand. Also, it could be the fact that this game tends to be very glitchy. There are a couple of different times where the game itself will just freeze. So I also think it could be the ROM as opposed to the emulator. Yeah, so it obviously has to do with just the speed of the actual emulator. So that's pretty much, all I have to say. It's an excellent price. It's an excellent controller. It's lasted me for a few months now. I totally recommend it. It's just a great product to play the games that you can't play because, like if you don't have these games and you're an emulator guy, I totally recommend this controller. This is the second Logitech controller I've had. The first one I had was the DualShock 2, which is an older version of this. It's pretty much the same thing though. And both of the controllers are great. I love this because, it's an updated version of the other one. Also, I don't know how well this controller works on a PC, so this is just Mac. So if you have a PC, I'd love to know how well your controller works with your PC as well. But other than that, like I said, this is a great product and I totally recommend it for anybody.